question that we really started with is, what would happen if a large group of people from different backgrounds working towards sustainability got together and shared and asked each other questions and generated more ideas and moved into action and
table travels into learning at other tables. Okay? The basic question is simple. So, what's going on in the world that makes this gathering about sustainability important? What's going on in the world that makes this gathering about sustainability important? So,
an interest, but not necessarily a resource to address. But what we talked about was finding ways to spark individual interest in order to create community activism. So, I mean, how do you get people interested? How do you get them excited? And how do we connect with people who aren't interested in sustainability? So how do we connect with, not necessarily the people in this room who all have an interest, but the people everywhere else around who maybe have varying levels of interest, maybe.
And the binding agent for all of us in our group was frustration. Because look around this room, everybody is working so hard on really interesting, important issues. But there's too much overlap. I get emails as, oh my gosh, another this and another that, all having to do with very worthwhile causes. But too often we're reinventing a wheel that is already known to many of us. And so we were very...
different certification levels. And our action steps really seem to boil down to educate, educate, educate. So as a group,
the challenge of working in the larger system. And as I have been able to work with groups that face similarly complex kinds of things, there's this one approach. It's called the appreciative approach, and I want to just name it because it's another way of thinking about this. The appreciative approach starts with the question of what's working, and that's a contrast to the question of what's wrong, okay? Which we often go to. And the follow-up question to that is what's possible, which is a contradiction to the question of how do we fix it. So staying in that realm of what's working and what's possible, and then moving into, as we've done today, that sense of just trying to notice and illuminate some of the choices that are available to us. And the last one is the thing that's most important to me, is following the spark of yes. So I don't know how to work with the overall grand scheme of complex systems, but what I see showing up is a real benefit to each of us noticing the spark of yes. And sometimes that shows up in the form of a person, sometimes that shows up in the form of a group, sometimes that shows up in the form of, you know what, I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do my work. It's okay. But all of that is in this different framing of organizations as living systems, as living systems. And a lot of levels of things that grow. All of this, if it is to live, it lives in the actions of each of us as individuals. So it's great to come together, but it lives in the action of us as individuals. And the model,